Hi, my name is Kim Dewhurst, and this is my speech to persuade. In a previous speech, I outlined what I see as a serious problem in the United States. A full 1% of Americans are now in prison. And I believe this is caused by America's war on drugs. In this persuasive speech, I would like to show how I believe we need to attack this problem with a threefold approach. The first point that I have is that we need to re-educate the public. Since 1973, we have been under a strong campaign from the United States government in their war against drugs. If you remember, some of you may be old enough to remember the slogan, "Your brain on drugs," where the egg is put into the skillet, and as it fries, it says, "This is your brain," and then as the egg begins to fry, it says, "This is your brain on drugs." Why don't we have one saying, "This is your brain on alcohol"? There's a disconnect, and we need to re-educate the public that a drug is a drug, whether it's in a powder, a pill, an IV, or a liquid. A drug is a drug. What we have now is Prohibition Round 2. This second round of Prohibition has produced the same results as the first round. First Prohibition gave us booze runners, organized crime, and liquor agents. Prohibition Round 2 has given us drug runners, South American drug cartels, and the DEA. It didn't work in the 1920s, and it's not working today. The American public must see this. We must re-educate the American public. Secondly, we must re-educate our elected officials. Our elected officials have bought into the government's philosophy of the war on drugs. That somehow, if we put enough people in prison, if we come down hard enough, then eventually the drug problem will go away. And as you can see, with 1% of the American public in prison today, that's not working. But our elected officials have bought into it. Vast amounts of our tax dollars go into a huge bureaucracy that's failing us. We must remember that we are the ones in control. That it's we, the voters, that can make a difference. We have the power to vote in who we want in office. We can make our voices known. And nothing will re-educate our elected officials like the ballot box. My third point is that reform not only will come slowly, but it must come slowly. I don't want you to get the mistaken idea that I think that taking drugs is all right. That I think that the crime rate in the United States because of the drugs is all right. That I think that running drugs is all right. It isn't all right. We've created a class of criminals, and we filled our prisons full of them. And we simply cannot empty our prison. They are criminals. They are dangerous people. Whether or not a law was fair, the law has been broken. And we have prisons full of criminals. So the problem won't be corrected overnight. Reform will take time. And it must take time. Criminals have been made. Now what do we do with them? But something must be done. Every day, people are being arrested in the drug war. Families are being broken. And criminals are being made. We have a second prohibition. It didn't work the first time. It's not working now. We do need to deal with the drug problem. But in my opinion, it's not through prisons. In conclusion, I realize that this is a new idea for most people. But please, don't just dismiss it offhand as some liberal idea. Think it over. And if I'm right, join me and others in trying to make a difference. Thank you.
You